Hello everyone, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Speak Easy. My guests today are extremely talented. They come from very influential film families, but they made their own identities and their own fandoms. It's crazy, the kind of love that they got. One has almost completed 40 years in the industry and one 10. But what they're, I think, bound by is their love and passion for movies. I'm talking about the very talented Sunny Deol and Dulquer Salmaan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
40 years and 10 years. You have to do something right to be relevant, to be loved for so long. I'm going to start with you. 40 साल यहाँ पे लोग 5 साल टिकने पाते sir.
I know I've been the lucky one, and I think कभी सोचा नहीं कितने साल निकल गए और कितने साल निकालने हैं. You just keep doing your work और काम करते करते फिल्में ऐसी अच्छी आ जाती हैं, and we're just the fortunate ones which we get to do so many we live so many kind of lives basically.
You know, you were at a stage when, you know, you were so popular, you do get so many films. But isn't it also about making that right choice? I mean, taking that leap with some films.
I think everybody basically जो भी अपनी film करता है, I think they want to make a right choice and they go with that subject, and everybody wants to make a good film, and unfortunately कुछ चीजें नहीं होती, नहीं बन पाती, but it is not their intention not to do that.
Sure.
Obviously, I have been always, शुरू से I have been picking up subjects which I like rather than anybody tells me do this film or that film. So I have been, and I work on my instinct because I'm a sports guy. So I believe in instincts. I don't like to analyze or bisect or dissect anything.
Fair enough. This is an inside joke. Now only you three know about it. Nobody else. So look at decade seems also like a really long time. You know, Dharmendra ji and of course Mammootty ji. It's like a lot of, it was huge shoes at the time to fill in when you guys started, but you both, I think I'm sure it was intimidating in the beginning, but then you all made kind of that space. Dulquer, for you, I'm sure even now, same like for him, even now when you go everywhere, there is that entire burden that you also carry, but you have kind of liberated from it and you continue to do who you are. I don't think that's easy. Tell me about it.
Yeah, definitely was very intimidating. My first few years, I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of an interview. I was afraid of performing, afraid of my choices. I would be afraid of even like my body language, which is still there, I think. You know?
Really?
Yeah. I'll be like, am I coming across as too entitled, too arrogant? Like it plays in my mind. It's not conscious. It's not something that I decide to do. But also, it makes me responsible towards what I want to do, and I'm here for the right intention. And I also, but I think the one thing that I was clear about, and which I think I've found some success in, is to veer away from his image or what the kind of cinema my father does. I think it was important for me to find my own cinema, which I think I've now, over time, I've kind of found. And there's definitely a section of the audience who knows me for me, which I'm happy about.
And let's come to the $1 million question that broke many hearts. Dulquer just suddenly felt like it was the right time to say, and rightly so, it is his life. He said, I don't want to do romantic films anymore. And there goes everybody. And then, of course, I mean, it was during Sita Raman, which was like this huge, epic love story. But Dulquer, I know you've said that for a while because all people expect from you is the quintessential romantic hero.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most of us actors have that phase in our lives when we can convincingly play the romantic hero. And I think I'm pushing it now.
A little bit. But fair enough, right?
I mean, it was great. I mean, I loved it. But I think I'm also curious about what all I can do as an actor, what all roles I can play, what all cinemas I can back.
Can I butt in a little bit?
Yes, please. 100%.
You see, the film which we have done right now, he is very different in that.
Exactly. Exactly what this is exactly what the question was.
That's what he's been asking for, but it is a love story.
There is a love story in it, for sure. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
I'm not saying there won't be love stories in my film.
It takes so much for you to get the love and get that sort of validation, and also again as an actor to feel satisfied.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
It's difficult to find that balance, right? Like a lot of the times, filmmakers come to you because a certain type of cinema or a certain type of role is working with you. So whenever they have an idea like that or a film like that, they come to you. And then sometimes those films are really good. So then I'm like, okay, now should I not do this film because I'm trying to break an image, or do I go with a good film? So it is difficult, but I'm also curious just about exploring. Like I want to do stuff like what Sunny sir did, at certain points in his career, because that for me would be breaking away from things I've done. And I'm sure he's now wants to break away from what he's done. So I think all of us, we don't like being boxed into any particular image. If I keep playing a romantic hero, there's only so many ways I can blush. There's only so many ways I can woo a girl.
Yeah.
So I'm not like I won't do it again, but I feel like it's nice to take a break and maybe explore it at a slightly more mature level, maybe at a different stage in my career. So many of my films are about finding myself. Now I think
it is.
I shouldn't be finding myself anymore. I have a 5-year-old kid. Like if I'm still finding myself, it's inexcusable.
I think you found yourself.
Yeah, I found myself.
I
So
think you
no
found
more of
yourself.
that.
Bobby in an interview was talking about how like my family is so simple, in that way, that लोग काफी फायदा उठाते हैं. I want to know, people have the courage to take Sunny Deol's faida, and I know that some of them, I just want to say, do you sleep well at night? Let's put it up there.
The guts.
Guts.
The guts.
G-U-T-S. But I know it has happened as well.
It
I can
does.
joke about it.
होता रहता है because it's not that you're not aware of it. It's happening, and you just let go of it. You're not bothered about it, and because I don't know. Many a times there's no point even hitting your head against क्यों क्या हो रहा है. You just move away from it and let it go by because जब उसको अकल आएगी. I mean, कोई ऐसी बगैर मतलब का कुछ करना जाए तो obviously, like I said, I'm very react with my impulses straight away. कहीं कुछ ऐसे करेगा तो उसी वक्त मैं उसको पकड़ लूँगा. जब आदमी से गलती होगी तो गलती है. तो जानबूझ के कुछ करेगा and you feel that person is trying to do something which he shouldn't be doing, then you need to tell that person, no, it is not so. And otherwise, आप वो गुस्सा किसी और चीज़ पर निकालेंगे.
जी बिल्कुल.
So you should take your anger out on the right person instead of taking it out on others.
So guts, like we said, both Dulquer and we agree, guts, like anger at the right person. I mean, God bless you. You've been from that era where you all have done things only because someone's come and said, we've had a, I mean, you almost feel owed to that person कि उसने आपको एक time break दिया था and someone did something for you. And sometimes when they come to favors, you've done so many things. But now are you at that space where people try to make you do things, particularly movies or films or some things, that you might not be in that space to do it?
I don't think one does it now anymore unless and until one feels कि okay, चल जाने दो, इसका फायदा हो रहा है, but it's not going to damage me and it's okay. So you do it at times, but it is not something which you have thought about it. It all depends on the situation, what it is, and I think that's the way it is. If you can give somebody and somebody needs it, needy person can be helped, you should help it.
Yeah. Film industry में producers इतने needy, you making it sound really. I'm like,
but I think that the producers,
I know what you
producers have changed. It's no more the producers; it's the companies which are the producers. Producers have become line producers.
Past when this happened that you're talking about,
yeah,
they were all doing so many films in a year.
Yeah.
So you would be like, okay, let this one we'll do it for.
What, like dosti yari types?
Yeah.
I feel like in the past when actors would do that, it's also the style of working is very different. They were doing so many films in a year, and you could easily slide one in there or slide a favor in. But also it is difficult, just from whatever little experience I have. We as actors or as leading men, we have so much more opportunities. There's so many filmmakers that come to you or producers that come to you, and so many others feel like they don't get any opportunity. So then they come to you for that. They'll be like, hey, can you help me out with this one film or something? And for them, they think, what is their view? This is one film, right? As for the actor, but for them it's life changing. But those are the things that really affect your filmography and your career. So I think it's very difficult to do favors, with movies. It's also a tricky place where it's not so easy to say no sometimes also.
No.
It's been a struggle, yeah. Especially starting out, there were so many peers of my father's who would all insist on me doing their films. But I could only go with my gut, whether I connected to the film or not. And if I said no, so many people were offended or upset because invariably they'd all be like an uncle or a friend of my father. There's some connect that I have from childhood. So that was tricky for sure. So I genuinely think the no's, define your career more than your yeses.
I've got numerous people who want to know what is happening to Gadar 2. One of the most successful. We talk about box office successes. Gadar has broken records for a while.
Yeah.
So, kya ho raha hai? So, please tell them.
I think, yeah, I mean, we are around the corner. For a month or so, I couldn't work because of some health issues, so I had to push it. But now from November, December, we'll finish the film. So next year, whenever the producers are ready to release it, they'll go for it.
And Apne 2 was something also in
That's
the
also after this, after Gadar.
As producers, and congratulations on what you all been doing, picking up really interesting stuff as well. And of course, you had your production house for a while. I want to ask producers, what do you think? There's so much debate about what content is really going to work at the box office. I feel like as actors, you are making brave choices. As producers, it's a very different ball game. What are your thoughts on the current emotions of the box office? Let me even call it. It's emotions, right? Indians are always emotional about anything.
My basic thing on this is that, same kind of film, same kind of everybody has been working so well from past 15, 20 years. It's not that they're doing something different right now. It's just that the people suddenly feel like they don't want to watch something like this, or they don't want to. I can only think of that, and these things do keep happening, and the cycle keeps changing. That's all it is. I don't see anything more to that, and definitely, these are my personal thoughts, is that initially, the producer was a producer who wanted to make a film. Now the companies have come in where they're not looking at a story or a director or anything. They're looking what is the sellability and how they can make it what it is. So it has become more of a
business.
And so rather than going, believing in something and taking the right actor and the right director to do the project, the day they have to do that, I'm sure. I mean, you can't say that this project is good, there's a depth of it. Go make it. And it will work. Believe in it. But don't believe in it because you feel, nahi, वहाँ पे मेरे को इसको ये जवाब देना, उसको ये जवाब देना, उसको ये जवाब देना, then it becomes difficult. Then obviously, sometimes something works and sometimes it doesn't work. But it is not that it was not supposed to work, or it is. And public is a choice. I mean, if they don't like it, they don't like it. You can't do anything about it.
At the end, as a producer, you can still tell them, chup, don't want to watch it. It works. Chup. What about you? What are your thoughts on that?
I can speak for myself, for my production house. But we do mostly Malayalam content there. But I've always tried to, even as an actor, I've always tried to just chase really great original content, and then try to maybe make it as commercial as possible to reach as many people as you can. And that's the only thing I understand. I feel like audiences' tastes can change. A film can be too early, ahead of its time. A film can be too late. All of these things can happen. But if you're genuine and your intent is right, they will appreciate what you're trying to do. But what does long runs and what does huge box office is not something any of us can really predict. But I think they know quality for sure. They know when you're doing something sincere.
I think in Malayalam, the films are made with content and everything. Somehow the Hindi cinema, they call it Bollywood. I call it Hindi cinema. Somehow the Hindi cinema has left its roots away, and they need to get back the roots. And I'm sure once they get back the roots, things will start falling in a much more artistic way, the way it used to be once upon a time.
Some correction sometimes that needs to happen.
Because I see quite a lot of few Malayalam films, and I really enjoy them. Because there is even if you don't know the language, but language is not the cinema itself is a language where you can understand what is happening, even if you don't know.
Human emotions are the same.
Because I hate to read subtitle because I miss out the performance sequence. So
it's hard to do that.
I rather prefer having it dubbed, so at least my concentration is there and I can hear it rather than. But over there, obviously, the content is always very. I really like their content.
100%.
They're really doing a great job there.
I'm going to ask one question, and you can answer first, and then you can answer. Okay. Some common questions for the two of you, and maybe one or two at the end would be very specific to you all. All right. Okay. A rumor about yourself that makes you really laugh.
A rumor about myself that makes me really laugh. Wow. There are quite a few of them.
Tell me a few.
They all think the way I'm on the screen is the way I am in real life.
My carry forward कि आपसे बात करेंगे तो आप एक बार चिल्लाते हुए साइड में लेके घसीटते हुए साइड में लेके जाओगे.
I know. Wherever I go, people think, I'm like that, but you're not like that. I said, I'm on the screen. I'm not supposed to be like that in my real life.
That shows what a good actor you are. Dulquer almost believed it when he was very scared to sit in your chair. He's like, I think he prefers sitting in this case. Dulquer is like, you can't sit. But that happened. You
that's
in
me.
the chair.
Out of like respect, I'm like, where should I
Where should I sit?
You tell me where I should sit, I'll sit on the next.
But abhi to I think thoda people must have understood the ones who sort of.
Yeah, who are close to me, who know me, like you know me now.
Yeah.
So that's fine. Otherwise, but mostly, the image has overtaken you so much that
they believe you're who we see on screen.
Yeah,
It will happen sometime. Like you saying "chup" here is such a moment. People went like, "Oh, Sunny Deol is back." They love it though. You realize that you screaming at them is something that they love it. They're like, "हाँ मम्मी मैं homework करने जा रहा हूँ." Sunny Deol has screamed at me. It is true. It is true.
It is, yeah.
It is true. It works. Okay,
it's the
that's
most
a good
marketable
rumor.
word that we have.
Yeah. What about you? Rumor about yourself that makes you really laugh.
I think there was a time when I when I was first sort of doing other languages, and I first I went to Tamil, then I went to Telugu, then I went to Hindi.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they made it as to insult me, but I found it really funny where they're like, I'm joining like Marvel and coming as the next Spider-Man or something because the way he's traveling, like he's going to end up in Hollywood and sign some huge, and I'm like, yeah.
That's a cool rumor to have.
That's a backhanded slap.
No, but I think like it's fun.
It's a fun rumor.
It's a fun one.
Yeah. I remember reading that, I was like, yeah, that's
अच्छा
awesome.
अपना खुद का MCU बन रहा है धीरे-धीरे करके. Can happen, you never know.
Never.
A movie that you in some ways sort of thought you could have done differently.
No, not really, because one could only do what the character was given to you and how it was conceived by the director. You couldn't go any other way. How much you justified it or didn't justify, that's a different thing, but that's what it would have been.
So you pretty much satisfied with whatever you've done.
Yeah. And you have to accept whatever you've done because that's a growing pattern.
What about you? Is there something you would have done differently or regretted?
I'm sure like most of my older films, when I look at it, I'm like, what was I doing?
You said
I could have done this better. Or, you just... And a lot of the time, it happens on a daily basis. Like, you will perform a scene, you'll be on your way back to your room, and suddenly you're like, this is how I should have played that scene. Like this. So, there's so many ways to play a scene.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to watch like older stuff and be like, happy with it. But I love my journey so far. I love my filmography. I wouldn't change anything about it.
Lovely. An unnecessary advice that you're happy you didn't take. In the beginning of your career, I think you hear so many advices, right? An unnecessary advice that you did not take and you're very happy about it today.
I've always been a very strong-headed person. Always done, I never let anybody,
Advice been...
See, I came in like how he is also, we came in with such a dad legacy behind us. I didn't think about it. I said, if I'll think about it, I'll become a victim of it. So, and if they say Dharmendra's son, he said, I am his son. I'm proud of it. So I was never into all these things, you should do this or that. I said, no, I have to become me, so I have to do what I want to do, and I'll carry on doing it. And if I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not there, I was not supposed to be there. Wow. So that's the way I've always taken my life. And I said, I've come to become an actor. I've not come there to become all this. If I'm not good, I'm not good. And at that time, I had this notion about this also, men don't dance, that was in the 60s or 70s, that was the 70s, that was the kind of a 80s, when we grew up, we were saying, mard aadmi naachta nahi hai. So wo cheezein hua karti thi. But then eventually, you have to end up doing everything because you're supposed to do everything. But over the period of time, the fans and the people have been really kind, and they just accept me the way I do it.
But I think it's cool that there's a natural swag about you that I don't think anybody else can have. When he talks also, I love that about you.
Very similar. Like when I started out, people kept trying to advise me to do like very commercial, massy, like superstar type films, and I was like, but I've just started. I don't see myself as. So in kind of not chasing that, I feel like over time I found whatever little popularity that I have is my own, in my own way.
Okay.
So nothing people ever told me made sense. I'm like, nobody can know. Like what is right or what is wrong.
Yeah.
You can all analyze it after. Like that one film doesn't work, and they all have advice to give you as to what didn't work or what you should do next. But it's so unique, each of our journeys.
Fair. A movie from your filmography that you hope no one ever touches and does a remake of.
Doesn't touch and make a remake of it.
Yeah.
Wow, which one would that be? Can you help me with that?
God forbid I say.
Because you see,
but nothing iconic should be touched.
You see, anything which is like they tell him, why don't you do this film of Dad? I said, you can't. One should not touch anybody's film because that film was not just because it had that story. It was the actor who was in it, the director who was in it, and the ambience at that time. It was that created that thing,
correct.
and you can't create that again.
Yeah,
You just can't create that again. Even like this West Side Story. I remember seeing the film which Spielberg made.
Correct, of course.
The film which was made was the West Side Story, not after that. After that, they were going technically, they would make big shots, but that had the soul to it. You can't do that.
So can I just say you don't want any of your films to get remade?
I don't mind. They can make every one of them. I'm not bothered about
but
it.
I don't think he'll be happy.
I'm happy about it.
Will you take that risk?
I'm
No,
not
but
bothered.
they might not be able to recreate the magic.
Yeah.
But feel free to do it.
But like you, according to you, personal opinion, it should not
I don't
be.
think one shouldn't ever do that because you cannot do what has been
Recreate
done.
the
I mean,
magic.
there's so many Hollywood films I've seen, and what was the original one, and when they did it after that was bullshit.
Fair. What about you?
No, I agree. I mean, I've never done like a remake purely for this because I feel like, when a film works or when a film is celebrated, even while you're making it, you don't realize, you don't think it's going to be this magical, memorable, timeless film. You're just going with good faith and you're trying your best. And then so many things come together for that film to become what it is. And I don't think it's possible to replicate that again because you see some formula that's worked and it's I don't know how to explain it. It's like you can't sort of like look at a dish and then guess the ingredients,
Okay.
And I have an example also, My dad had done, and Sanjeev, they had done a film, Yadon Ki Barat. And then Nasir ji did the same film with me and a couple of us, wanting to repeat that, and it was a big flop. I mean, we couldn't do that, and it shouldn't be done. And obviously, I was very young that time; I had no idea. Karna kar liya.
This is the absolute last question. This is for you, and one's for you. You've been known as the angry action star for years and years now. No one's really touched that. You can be an action star, you can be an angry man, but no one's really angry action star, which is what you are solely holding the title to. Is there anyone that you think can take forward that legacy?
Well, I've not been working for past 20 years doing that kind of film. I've not seen anybody doing that.
So, the king rules.
I left the field open for everyone.
So I think the king rules then.
It's not that. Everybody has his own identity, and I'm sure there'll be somebody else who'll come with another identity which nobody else will fill.
True.
One female actor, if you're offered a romantic movie that you said you don't want to do for now, that you'd immediately say yes to because that's been the dream.
I'd be very curious to do a film with Alia. We did an ad together, and I think she's a very spontaneous, very interesting actor. There could be, it'd be interesting to explore, like you said, like even if it's a love story, the exchanges, the moments, the reactions.
Like there can be chemistry, you have a feeling.
I mean, I think I'd be curious to see.
You'll be curious.
Or even like work with someone like that.
There you go. You give a little hope, jate the fans ko. Hey, ho sakta hai. All that note. It's absolutely wonderful chatting with you, and I want to say that I was very thrilled with the addition of both of you in a movie like this because I haven't seen it and I'm very, very curious about it. So I'm not being chup about it at all. I'm going to ask people to go and see it.
Please do, yeah. Spread as much noise as you can.
I'm going to make a lot of noise about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You all are wonderful and all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.